Hello and welcome back to our channel. Previously we already discussed with you how we can create sheet and how we can add annotations and how we can create totally new view template. Today I'm going to show you one of the alternative ways how you can create a set of views without necessity of creating mess in your project tree. And this feature called Assemblies, and if you're not aware of it, this video just for you. How you can create your own assembly. First of all, here you can see I already created such an assembly. I will just disassemble in my case, and once I did disassemble, all the assemblies disappeared from the list. So to create totally new assembly, you need to select components you would like to be included in this assembly. Then find under the Modify tab, Create section and Create Assembly tool. Then you can call it, in my case I have only 3 systems modeled as far as you know. So I will call it Suction Line of the Home. And I will click on OK. This will create the assembly. Then what you can do for this assembly, you can add a reference, for example comment, and you can add a remark on your piping layout, just not to show all the dimensions in this view. Because here what you can use, for example, as a reference, the nozzle of the equipment. Because those nozzles, they've been already added to the assembly, because as you remember, we create nozzles as a shared family. So when we connect our piping to this shared family, it also includes. So then how you can create those views and also to define the sheet. You just need to go in Assemblies section of your project tree, just click with right button on the assembly that you just created and select Create Assembly Views. Here, as you can see, I already have predefined some of the settings. For example, for now I left without any kind of tuning part list and material takeoff. We will talk about it later. And as you can see over here, for example, I already applied several view templates. In one of the tutorials, we already created the template for the layout. But here, as you can see, I also applied templates for the sections. For the section, you can create view template just as you did it for layouts. So exactly the same workflow. Then what you can do here, you can define the scale, but make sure that in your layout template you have view scale unblocked. Otherwise, if it will be locked to 100, it will be also here 100, despite you selected you would like to have for all the views 1 to 20. Here you can also define the template of the sheet. And basically that's it. Then you can click on OK. It will bring you to one of the views it created. Of course, you can indicate which one you would like to see in this list when you create new assembly views. For example, maybe you don't need back, front, right, left, bottom, and you need only one section. Section, plan, 3D view, and a few part lists. Well, it depending on what you would like to achieve and how complex is the system. If you would like to create this assembly for your piping system. Technically, there are unlimited applications how you can use it, and it defines the way how you should model your components. But we will talk about it in a separate video. Then I move to the sheet and I just start to place components. As you can see, some of the components already started to automatically align. Then I'm going to add top view. Let's say I would like to keep this 3D view somewhere over here. What you can do here, for example, you can modify this view a bit. So you can add crop region. And for example, let's say you don't want to show that here you don't see the equipment. So just crop it to the moment you have it. And then here you can add annotation that this particular item belongs to this equipment number. And same from the other side. And then for everybody, it's clear about what we're talking about. Then you can do for every view for sure. You cannot just do it for one view and tell, yeah, okay, I did it here. You need to do it for everywhere. And then here in the same way, you can add the dimensions. So if you would like to, you can use all the annotation over here. So for example, let's add some pooling dimensions. So it will be here, here. It will be separate spool. Then here and here. Then here, as we did before, we can also manipulate with the position of the dimensions. So just go to unit format and change it to 0, 1. And now it became readable. What you can do here, there are a lot more options how you can add different kind of annotations. For example, if you would like to also to indicate distance from this dimension to some of the, for example, grid, one of the grids or whatever, just because of, yeah, because you want it, or, yeah, well, you better know why you need it. To be honest, I have no idea why you would like to have it. But you can add it via components. But for this you need to create separate component, especially for sheet. But we will talk about it again in one of our videos. Today we're not going to cover it. Then of course you can add all the annotations here. If you would like to, you can move these dimensions to the top. Then you can indicate or give some generic dimensions, for example, location of the tab point, location of the support, and the total dimension towards the equipment. As you can see here, we don't have a floor also mentioned, but you can add it. Again, what you can do here, if you don't want this component to be included in your current assembly, and technically you cannot have it included, because if you have several components like this, then you need to have it created for every single component you defined here. Yeah. So what you can do here, just like in the plain AutoCAD, you can create everything with lines. So for example, I know that somewhere on this elevation I have a floor. And I can create some kind of region. And here I'm going to tell, okay, this is my floor. Here you can also indicate the dimension towards the floor. Just ensure that it's matching to your actual dimensions in the model. What you can also do, you can add some reference component, just not to do it always manually, not to always jump between model and the current view. So for example, what I'm going to do here now, I think I have no better option than to put some piece of steel on the floor. I think it's too low or too high. Let me see. What do we use as a reference? Yeah, I think it should be this one, and reference level will be level 1. Let's see. Yeah, now it was created. So for example, I know the top of this component is the floor. So what I can do, I can click Edit Assembly, and I can include this component in this assembly. It can be also very simple, I know, even text-based family or some kind of family which is surface-based. So you can just place it somewhere on the floor and use it as a reference when you're creating your assembly. So you can see here that we need to move our little components a little bit higher. But again, I didn't see any issues with that. So I will just move it. And now I have good reference for elevation. Now I'm for sure know that this is my top of concrete. Here we can also add, for example, we can add also over here annotation. So then this is the elevation we have. And here I can also indicate that this is my top of concrete. In this case, I don't have indication for top of the concrete, but yeah, you can have it. Also, in the same way, I can indicate the elevation or the location of the drain. And what you can do here, you can even modify the elevation. Just need to click on Edit Assembly, and you can easily move components. And as you can see, all the dimensions, they already binded to the component itself, so you don't need to be worried about, okay, I need to update the model, then I need to update the drawing. And actually that's the good part about Revit. So you can do all those customizations on yourself. In one of the videos I also showed you how you can create view names. So you can follow up this tutorial and then you can complete it in one go. That's it for today's tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment below, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.